Welcome back to Switched to Linux. We're going to have another look at a distro, just kind of a quick look here. This is actually one I've looked at several months back, but just in case you're new to the channel, you haven't seen it, and the reason this one came on the radar to look at today is because it actually is a distro that they have just re-released with Debian 9, so we're going to look at Emmabuntus. I totally butchered that. Not that I can probably say it properly anyway, but Emmabuntus is what I'm going to say. It's probably not correct, but we're going to go ahead and run with that. So, of course, this is a distro that this was actually created out of a project to help prevent older computers from getting into landfills by restoring them and bringing them back to life with better computers. And I do have, like I said, I do have another video on this, and I'm not going to run through the installer again here. I'll go ahead and link the other video so that you can see that. But the installer is really cool because of the things it has. It's like I looked through my videos. I actually did a search through my videos. Did I do this one? Seems familiar. And then it's like, couldn't find it in the searches. And then it just turns out that I did it back in May. So, the problem with doing, one or two distro quick looks a week is, you cover pretty much all of them. We're kind of repeating some of the distros. And I think tomorrow we're going to, on a live stream, we'll probably have a look at Fedora. Because there's a new edition. But this new edition has just come out based on Debian 9 stretch.
Hello, peoples. Use Emmabuntus based on Debian 9 stretch because it rocks.
That's right, Katie. It rocks, doesn't it? Yeah? Okay. So, basically, the distro itself is, like I said, it's designed to really bring life back into older computers because it's just based on a lightweight distribution. Now, the funny thing is, though, what seems a little odd to me is that it's a 3.5 gigabyte download, and if you're on too old of a computer, that might not work. But I don't think we're talking about, old x83, 386s or anything like that. And also a correction from the last time I did the video. They do have a form here which is mostly in French, but somebody did correct me and say, hey, yeah, there is actually some English text support there. So you'll see it is still mostly in French, but there is enough English stuff to get some help, to do some installations, find links to downloadable versions and things like that. And despite it being a 3.5 gigabyte download, it actually did download pretty quick for me. It was actually downloading about 4 megasecond from SourceForge. So, and actually it was one of those weird cases because download link from SourceForge was working way faster than the torrent was, and so we went ahead and went with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump on over to the distro and we'll have a look. And you'll see guest editions are not installed on this, so we'll kind of do it in this view here. But basically, it is a very nice system. I think I have it set up pretty much the way I had my other one set up. We have a nice Cairo dock down here, which is what I run. In fact, I kind of really like these now that I've actually run them on my Debian computer, where I actually had it on the sidebar. But you have the option of which do you want to dock or do you not want to dock, and you have the option of which menu do you want. Do you want to use the more traditional menu, which is a lot more lightweight, or do you want to use the whisker menu, which is quite a bit heavier? Of course, I have to be really careful here because I'm holding a cat with an XFCE desktop, and we know that cats are bad for XFCE desktops. Causes some physical, mechanical damage, right, Kitty? Right? As they chase the little mouse that's on the screen. Regardless, we'll just have a quick look at this. We're not going to spend a ton of time in here. We just want to walk through here, see what's in this, and I'm going to ask that question. Is this really good for a beginning Linux user? Because that's really what it was designed for. A, to bring life into old hardware, and B, introduce people to GNU Linux with easy-to-use systems. So as far as the easy-to-use system here, we can work off the desktop, so that's actually not a big deal. We have access to a dock if you happen to like docks, and that's your kind of thing. You got that. Of course, you have a menu if menus are your thing. So this kind of has the best of whether you're coming from Mac or coming from a Windows environment. You're going to have something in here that's going to be a little bit comfortable. Of course, the XFCE desktop you can customize quite a bit, so that is an option for you as well. We're not going to spend any real time doing this. I think I've covered that in a lot of different videos. But let's just go ahead and start. We'll start first by having a look at, before we really get going, let's see, is HTOP installed here? Okay, so HTOP's already installed. So I didn't do anything. I installed the system and I ran updates. That's all I did. So here we can see before we really did anything, we're running about 483 megabytes on this. So you can see this is going to run on pretty light resources. And of course, you can drop that down probably if you were not running the dock and you were running a more traditional menu instead of the whisker menu, you could probably drop that down, 300-400 megabytes is my thought. So you can see it's actually running pretty good. Let's see. Nah, it's not gonna work. Control F10. I don't know how to leave this guy. We're just gonna close the terminal. We're gonna leave it non-gracefully. All right. I rarely use HTOP. As far as the, what does the look like? I think in a world of icons and desktops that are becoming flat, boring, modern, and horrible, I love the icons they have on these. These are classy all the way. From the way the dock looks, of course, just looking at the system here, the icons used on this dock, the dock theme, we get some nice reflective skeuomorphism. Man, if Mac computers still look like this, I might like Mac more, but I think they look pretty ugly. So here you can see the basic icons are a little bit more flat, a little bit more modern here. So you have that. Of course, we can change those, but let's go ahead and have a look at what software is available on this guy here. So let's see. I don't use XFCE enough to remember where I'm at, other than we have that there. So here we go. Here's our settings. So of course we have an ample amount of settings in here. So this passes my complete desktop test. This guy here there's a lot in here. There's of course your settings is where am I thinking? I kind of saw Adobe Flash. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, it is a complete desktop, but here's the settings where you can get to your settings individually or your settings manager to see everything. And this is one of those cool things about XFCE is the number of settings is just way out there. Now, of course, this proposes a few small negative points in that there might be a little overwhelming for some people. I don't know what the cat's doing. He's just kind of sitting here being cute. He's just kind of chilling. But the settings here are very comprehensive. This is what I like about the settings, how comprehensive they actually are, is the amount of things in there. All right, what are you doing, kitty? Oh, that's mine. All right, sorry about that. I had a message there I was waiting for. All right, so the next thing there, under your accessories, this is where I was getting to. So we have a lot of different tools. We have a system manager in there. We have there's wine tricks. I'm a little leery when I start seeing wine installed on things. Yeah, it does have wine installed. I'm not a fan of that because it really gets rid of, that whole, you don't get as many viruses on Linux things. Well, if you have wine installed, you can get all those Windows viruses. So keep that in mind. I don't like the fact that it has wine installed by default, but that's quite okay. There's a lot of other things in here. We have cheese. It might almost be too much software, to be honest. Wine tricks. I'm not sure why we have two wine tricks there. We have LibreOffice Writer. I'm not sure why that is there. Hey, cat. You're not allowed up there. You know that. All right. But we have caffeine, so that's good. Prevent the desktop from going to sleep. We have a font viewer in here, note application, things like that. Under the Cairo dock, this, of course, this menu would not be here if we did not select Cairo dock to install it. So that's something that you install during the setup process. Here's your development. We have, is this pronounced Genie? I don't know how that's pronounced. Genie, Arduino, Scratch, Squeak. A lot of education software in here, including Stellarium. I think that this might be one of the reasons this is so big, is there's so much stuff in here that I'd almost like them just to have more of an approach. I forget which desktop it was, but you go through there and you can pick which types of packages you want to install. I like that better because there's a lot on here I probably wouldn't ever use, and so I'm like, I feel like it might be a little bit too bloated. I think, if I remember correctly, I didn't watch my video from last time all the way through, but I think that I had that same conclusion last time as well. Again, we have Play on Linux installed. That's something I'd like to see an option to install or not to install, because it's really, it is a big Linux security risk to have Wine installed on a computer unless you absolutely need it. But there was a big trend of people installing Wine by default out of the box and then announcing, hey, you can run your Windows programs over here. And that simply is not always true. Wine is very limited in what it can run. It can run some Windows programs, but it can't run a lot of Windows programs. And so we have to keep that perspective in mind. Potato Guy sounds like a game. Ah, yes, look at that. We have Potato Guy.
Eye. Nose.
Okay.
Ear. Coat.
Look, Picasso! Kudos to you if you get that reference. Let's see. Education, there's games. Okay, graphics. So we have Digicam. I believe this does raw camera input. We have Photox. We have GIMP. Shotwell. We have Scribus. Simple Scan. Sweet 3D Home. Yeah, there's just so much software in here. I can't imagine why we need all this. Not even all in my language either. Okay. I have no idea how to use this software package. Alright, let's see. What else we got? We have Internet. We have Chromium and Firefox. We have FileZilla. Jitsi, we have BitTorrent, we have Skype. Skype is one that I did install on setup, so that was one of the optional ones. There's Thunderbird, Wi-Fi Radar. Let's see if that's just a Wi-Fi scanner. No, I think that's just setting up Wi-Fi. I don't know. Alright, so we have Audacious, we have Audacity, Brassario, Cheese, Clement, EasyTag, Caffeine, Kazam, Kdenlive. I think they've literally packaged every possible option for every possible thing and put them all in here, which I think is overwhelming in a way. No free softwares. This is another thing that I had installed by default, I think this bug buzzing in my face. It's another package here that I installed, so you had the option to install these or not. So I installed the Calibri fonts, the Arial fonts, the codecs for audio, codecs for video, and Flash. Those are all things that I had installed by default. So here we have, we have probably moving beyond a complete system and on into a bloated system, unfortunately. I think that was kind of my impression of it the first time around as well. And that's the danger of that, of course. There's two dangers I see. The first is downloading and installing a 3.5 gigabyte file is a little bit weighty, especially if you're new to the Linux community and you're wanting to experiment with some things. I'd go with something that's a little bit lighter, that's not quite as big to download, because that 3.5 gigabyte download it's going to be a download barrier. It's going to be a time barrier. It took me 15 minutes to download it, but a file of that size could easily take the average person several hours to grab. And what we see for it is a whole lot of excess software. Like, we don't need 4 video editors in an introductory Linux distro. And the next major challenge with it is, of course, is if there's so much in there, it's great to have all this stuff, and the guy that's like, ooh, I'm going to play in here and see what I got. that guy is going to be happy to find there's a lot of things to play with, but your average person, this is just too much stuff. Ebook viewer, ebook reader, we have Calibri, we have a document viewer. Evolution, so there's 2 full email clients on here at least. Evolution and Thunderbird. Home Bank, what's that one? That might be one I look into. I think I said that last time I looked at this. Home Bank. Obviously, I never did. That'd be neat, though. Let's have a look at the Office stuff down here. So we have the full LibreOffice on here. I'm pleased we don't have 2 full complete Office packages. That's actually a little bit of a relief. That'd be a little too much if we had this and LibreOffice or this and only Office. So it looks like overall, I like the look of the system. The look is great. The overall design is good. I like the interface. Can give you both a Mac and a Windows. A Mac and a Windows comfort level. So that's also really good. And so with that being said, the low system resources, that makes this an attractive thing if you have a small netbook computer like this guy here, 32 gigabyte hard drive, 2 gigs of RAM, but this guy here is what I wrote my last entire book on. Fabulous system. But when it comes down to it, would I install this on here or not? Honestly, I don't know. I feel like if I had installed it, I would have to go in and spend a whole lot of time doing the same thing I used to do on Windows installs. Go in, install Windows, and then spend the next half of a day uninstalling bloatware. And that in and of itself is a problematic thing. This computer runs Peppermint, and so there was really not a lot of bloatware in there to get rid of. Now, I had to add some packages, like Peppermint does not have LibreOffice installed. But when it comes down to it, when you're talking about big packages, I'd probably rather have not an overwhelming amount, but still have the option to download them. Now, of course, you can make the argument, and I believe that this is probably the reason these guys did this, is you can very easily make the argument that I'm new to Linux, I don't know what it has. I don't know what video players are out there. And so the fact that I can come in here and I clearly have 2 things that clearly look like video editors, so I can kind of start with those 2 items and go, which one of these will be better for editing video? And then I have the option now to play with some. So it's not all bad. I'm not at all. I'm guessing this, I don't even know what Caffeine is. I was assuming it was a video editor, but apparently not. Does it have Pit Vivi in it, though? Let's see what it says here. I probably pronounced that one wrong, too. Videos, what's this one? Okay, so that looks like a transcoder. Yeah, it's just like there's a lot of different packages. I almost feel overwhelmed looking in here with the amount of options. Like apparently there's not as many video editors as I thought there were, but as far as video players, we have Clementine. Audacity's more for editing. Which one's Audacious again? I like that. Yeah, that reminds me of old Winamp. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think Winamp became that. Let's see what else we got. So we have Clementine, we have Audacious as media players. Of course, we have video, which can be that. What else we have? And we have VLC. So we have a lot of media players. Let's see, what else we got? I like Stellarium. If you've never played with Stellarium, this is a fun one. Basically, it just allows you to see your sky. I think the close window's over there. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, one of the downsides I'm having right now is the window to, let's see, there's that. the window to close it is actually over, it's actually off screen. The window for me to close this program is actually off screen. I'm kind of stuck with it for a while, just due to the size of the the screen size here. That's exciting. Well, if you have ways of making them talk. Sorry. To get rid of that. But anyway, alright, so that is Emmabuntus. Overall take, you know, if you want something that's a little bit more flashier and you're trying to learn some Linux software and you got some bandwidth, I think this is a cool way to go. I really do. I think it's kind of cool. If you already know what types of Linux operating or what type of Linux applications you want to be running, which packages you want to use, I'd probably go with something lighter like Linux Lite or Peppermint or MX16 because they don't have quite as much excess software, so that way you can just simply install the ones that you do. And when you get super geeky, I'm not there yet, but when you get super geeky, you can even install a script. So that it'll basically just set up one script so it'll already, install all of the applications that you want if, anytime you're distro hopping. So overall, it's pretty cool. I mean, I like the look of it. The look's pretty cool. I love their mission, which is to, keep computers out of landfills by providing an operating system that's a little bit better direction, a little bit lighter system resources than the operating systems that are coming out from more modern systems. And I love their approach to teach people about new Linux software. And, again, the argument for the bloat is giving people a lot of options so they can get a chance to play around. It's just that my fear is that some people might get overwhelmed if you have too many options. And I don't know. So I think that's an either-or argument. Which direction do you want to take? And once you figure out which direction you want to take, then you can figure out the best ways to go. So that's me stumbling through this guy here. I just want to go back and have a look at that. And it's the great news. It's now based on Debian 9 stretch, and so it's going to have a lot of your most up-to-date packages. Everything's going to run pretty well, I think, based on my experiences with Debian. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the same volume issues on this as I've had on my other Debian computer when I was running that, but we'll see what happens. So with that, thanks for watching. If you do want to help support what we do, check out switchtolinux.com/support, and you can figure out how you can help support us. At the time of this video, we have direct PayPal, we have Patreon, and we have Amazon links down below. And for Patreon, this month I'm giving away a free copy of my new ebook, which the full book will be launched and released and announced on Friday. But any of my patrons can get that book already. I put it up for them last week, including some preview videos. I'm also planning a home cooking hacks behind the scenes for the patrons here in the next week or so. I've been experimenting with some fascinating recipes, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at another time. I am planning a live video for Wednesday. What day is Wednesday? Wednesday the 4th, 7 Eastern. Come on by for that. And with that, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.